Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Agronomy Minute. You're probably wondering whereabouts I am because I'm not at my normal background and I'm definitely not in the office. And right now I'm actually covering for my dad who had to step away for a couple of hours this afternoon. And with the warm weather, we've had a nice run for syrup. So I'm just covering for him, keeping the fire going and making some maple syrup. Really a true testament that with technology in today's day and age, you can literally work anywhere. And I'm actually shooting this video between a couple of different webinars. So bear with me today. We have Steph Divitaris on today's episode with Syngenta. She's going to talk about Miravis Neo, which we're familiar with in corn. She's going to go over a little bit of data. And also, we're going to look at a new seed treatment from Syngenta called Saltro, which will give us sudden death syndrome protection in soybeans. So we'll flip it over to Steph now. And when we come back from Steph, I'll give you a quick tour of what's going on here, and we'll get into trivia. So Steph, take it away.
Good afternoon. I'm Stephanie Divitaris, the Territory Sales Rep for Syngenta Canada. I cover Essex County, Lambton, Chatham-Kent, and a little bit of Elgin County. And today I want to share with you some updates on Syngenta's portfolio for the 2021 growing season. So when we talk about what's kind of new and exciting, we have the whole Miravis brand of families. Specifically, Miravis Neo is a product for you in your corn crop. And what this does is it protects against both leaf diseases and fusarium ear rots or gibberella when applied at the tassel timing. You can apply Miravis Neo pre-tassel if that works into your system as well, but it will not help as much with the suppression of fusarium. So when we're looking at this field here, Miravis has been sprayed. The green strips are where the Miravis has been sprayed. The brown strips are where Miravis has not been sprayed. So we can see a visual difference. If we look here on the right on the chart, we can see the yield difference of Miravis versus the untreated check, anywhere from -2 all the way up to 27 bushels per acre yield increase, which averaged over about 36 locations to be at about 11 bushel advantage over the untreated check. Great results with this product. When we look at the visual difference and the performance on northern corn leaf blight, visually we can see the Miravis here on the right, that there is less infection from northern corn leaf blight versus the competition. And again, the rate for Miravis is 0.4 liters per acre, and that again was at the tassel timing when this was applied. Again, a visual of the untreated check versus Miravis Neo. You can see the crop health versus the untreated check. There's much better late season stay green. You can also see that it's being allowed to dry down naturally rather than die down because of late season diseases. And you can also see the improved stalk strength, which will equate to increase in harvestability and hopefully an increase in yield. So here we can see the severity of northern corn leaf blight of Miravis Neo versus the competition. And at tassel timing, Miravis Neo has a significant reduction in northern corn leaf blight versus the competition when sprayed at the same timing. And also, another huge advantage is that Miravis Neo is a premix that can be applied pre-tassel or at tassel, and it has both leaf diseases and fusarium suppression. So when we look at the performance of Miravis Neo on gib or ear rots, we can see that versus the competition, relatively the same. All products are giving you a good suppression of gibberella or ear rots. Switching over to sudden death syndrome and a seed treatment that Syngenta has to offer, which is called Saltro. This protects your crop against sudden death syndrome. Sudden death typically infects early season. You do not see the symptoms until late season. And Saltro is added in addition to your base seed treatment. So if you're using a fungicide or a fungicide insecticide, you then add the addition of Saltro to help decrease the presence of this. So help use varieties that are tolerant to SDS and a seed treatment to give it that 1-2 punch. Here you can see the visual difference of Saltro versus the untreated chick. Another huge advantage of the Saltro versus the competition is the phytotoxicity. We do not see any early season phytotoxicity with Saltro versus the competition. And again, some visuals of the premature defoliation that is prevented with Saltro versus the untreated check. Again, Saltro, plant health, late season plant health, and there's no impact on development. versus the competition where there is at the same timing. Overall, there's about a 4 bushel increase in yield with Sultro versus the untreated check. And specifically here you can see in Rodney that there is a, let's say, 6 to 8 bushel yield advantage over the untreated check. So switching back to Miravis, when we look at the Miravis brand of families, Miravis Ace is your product for wheat, and it helps to reduce leaf diseases and Fusarium head blight. And here you can see that the severity of Fusarium in the Miravis versus the untreated in the competition is significantly reduced. Miravis Ace over the untreated check at 12 locations gives about a 10 bushel yield advantage over the untreated check. And not only do you see an increase in yield, you also see a visual difference. So that straw will be cleaner and hopefully also keep your combine cleaner when you're harvesting. When we look at Miravis Ace versus the competition, we can see that we're 3 bushels over Prosecco and about 4 bushels over Carumba. And this was grower experiences from the 2020 season. And also, not only does it give you increased yield coming from decrease in leaf diseases, you're also seeing that Fusarium head blight protection and an increase in yield from there. So hopefully this was a quick update on the Miravis brand families and Sultro. If you have any other questions, please reach out to Darren or myself and we'd be happy to answer them.
Special thanks for Stephanie for taking some time to come on this week's episode and talk about a couple of new Syngenta products. Miravis Neo we saw last year, actually the last couple of years now. It's proven with good yield results and nice dawn reduction. So it's a nice product. And also Sultro is going to have a nice fit on some of those prone soybean cyst nematode acres, especially Rodney Way and north of Highgate on some of the sands. So 2 products to look out for. So as promised earlier in the episode, a little treat for you guys. I'll quickly go over the process as I'm making some maple syrup here right now. So up top is our collection tank. So we pump all the raw sap up top and it stores up there and it's just continuously fed down. So raw sap is 2 to 3% sugar. So the cold raw sap flows through this clear tube into what's called our preheater hood, which is essentially a series of tubes that heat via conductivity and it heats up the sap. So the whole idea is to not continuously add cold sap and bring our boil down each time. So once it goes through the preheater hood, we come out down here and it's fed into our evaporator pan. And here's the evaporator pan. Inside, got a good boil going now. And once it makes its way through there, there's a float box up front and what's called our finishing pan. And you can see we keep a pretty even float, and depending on our sap level, more sap will come in the front or less sap. So here's the finishing pan up front, which is essentially just 4 sections. So the syrup, or the sap, I guess, will run up and back through these stanchions where we take it off over on this side. So up front, we're gonna take this off around 50% sugar. So I just checked this, we're just about 50% now. So here we're gonna take a little bit off.
So close off this week's episode. Last week I asked you what can we add to Aragon merge in our burn down for soybeans to improve our control of Canada flea bane? And the answer is metribuzin, which is the active ingredient found in Sencor or Tricor. So a few different generics out there. So adding in the metribuzin gives us a more consistent control of flea bane. And the bonus question, what order should it be out of the tank? And the answer is first. Since Sencor is a granular, the 75DF formulation, it goes in first, followed by your Aragon, then the Transorb, and the merged surfactant goes in last. So that'll close that off. And this week, our trivia question, it's brought to you by Syngenta, as we had Steph on today. And the question is, Syngenta has the ultimate option for corn rootworm control. So this week's question is, what is this corn trait called? So a little bit of a hint, we have not discussed it on these videos yet. So do what you need to do, phone a friend, ask your friend, Google, and text me, email me, call me, whichever you got to do. big thanks to everyone who's played along so far. It's actually been pretty fun and interactive for us. So I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. A little bit different. Hope you enjoyed a bit of a tour. Stay safe and enjoy the warm weather. We'll see you again next week for another episode.